Hi guys, we've reached 10,000 subscribers. So this is my boyfriend Allan, and he is invited because we've reached a certain threshold that is now acceptable for you to make an appearance. Okay, I'll do better. So we asked you guys to put some questions, and yeah, we got some interesting questions. So I will be asking you those questions, but to keep it consistent, I thought oh my god. To keep things consistent, I thought I would do the same questions that I asked for all of the showcasing series people. So yeah, let us start. No looking.
I'm not looking.
Please briefly introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Allan. I've been taking care of Calypso's audio and visual stuff for the last year.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have enjoyed the quality improvement.
What is something that you're passionate about and why? Or some things?
Calypso, because she's awesome.
Okay, moving on. What is a superpower you would most like to have and why?
All the powers.
No, like one superpower.
Yeah, it'd be all the powers. All bundled up into one. It's like a god mode. Because easy sailing is the best. And I mean, you can't fly unless you have super body strength. And you can't teleport unless you have absolute control.
Okay, honey. What is the weirdest thing about you or some weird things about you?
Everything. My sister says I don't have much of a personality. Calypso likes me for some reason. I got a weird cat who acts like a dog.
Odessa?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She likes going for walks.
This is a perfect example of J-lead speech pattern, or what we call like the evaluative sentence type as opposed to the observational sentence type. But I have that too. I tried to elaborate with my NE, but I also have that. Tell us a little bit about work.
It's boring. It's retail. Deal with annoying people all the time. Do tech support for stuff that we don't sell. We get some really weird questions, as I'm sure any of you who work retail would know.
Tell us about your creative process.
Not much of a process. I do. Everything just comes out once.
Elaborate. Please be a little more descriptive for everyone.
As far as creative things goes, I've seen a lot of things created before, and I keep the stylization and the process of how other people have made it, and I keep them in mind. And then when I have to create something of my own, I kind of pull everything that I've seen and experienced myself all together to put forth whatever I create.
Okay, what is the most important thing to you in a romantic relationship? It is so weird asking my own boyfriend that because that was just a generic question.
Being able to relax.
Okay, that makes sense. What is something that you would never tolerate in an interpersonal relationship?
Not being able to relax.
Okay, what is your biggest pet peeve? Are you like, I have so many pet peeves?
Yeah. I guess the most common one would be is when you're explaining something to someone and they've asked for you to help you with that, but they're not willing to learn or listen to what you are trying to convey to them.
Have I done that? Do I do that?
No. Because when that does happen, my tone usually drops. And then it sounds a lot more harsh than it normally is.
Oh, okay. So it probably hasn't happened because I would probably start crying at that point.
I don't think it's that bad, am I?
I don't know. I haven't heard your dropped voice tone, so...
I haven't made any kids cry, so...
Moving on to the viewer questions now. Some of these are really interesting. Someone asked how we view each other's NE and SI. I think that his NE is actually in some ways better than mine. Like, I think the third function is your hidden agenda or like relaxing function, and in a lot of ways he's better at incorporating new things or new ideas than me. Like, for the unwinding thing, I think you like to play like a lot of different games, and it just takes you no time at all to like start playing a new game or pick up like a different hobby. Or if your friends want to go somewhere, you can just go to that new place. But I feel like it takes me a long time to incorporate the new thing so that I can relax with it. Like, so for unwinding things, I typically just like to do maybe like 2 things or sometimes even 1 thing over and over again for months before I like move on to the next thing. Sometimes weeks, sometimes days, but yeah, I like to do my one relaxation ritual. So I think that's my tertiary SI. And I think where your SI is really good is that, well, you have a better memory than me for sure.
Overall, sure.
You are better at doing sensory activities. How do I see your SI? I see it as like something that you can kind of turn on and off. Like, I don't really think you're super heavy on the SI while we're having like a hypothetical conversation, but I feel like when you're trying to make something work, you would follow like what has come before and stuff like that.
It's like when I'm taking your ideas and make it into reality.
Oh my god, we said it together. Yeah.
It's no different from my creative process. You have an idea, I take it, I disassemble it, pull it together with everything I know, and I put something out. Except it kind of just happens like that. How I see your NESI. It's like all your bumbling ideas that go from here to here to here, all over the place. And then you have one idea, and then it sprouts out to another idea, and then another idea out from there.
Okay, yes.
And then it just kind of explodes.
This is why my speech pattern is so messy, but yes. And then introverted sensing is the one where I associate certain objects and experiences with things, and I also get triggered to think about like the past, and then I feel like that's more sticky for me. I feel like I get into like an SI mode just randomly. Like when something triggers my FI emotions, I get like blast to the past. Whereas for you, I feel like it's more conscious and controlled. Like you can kind of switch off whether you're affected by your past or not.
Never be affected by your past. It's kind of like when I introduced you to Parkitech. It was a nice new thing for you that you got yourself into, and then you were reminiscent about the rides that you used to go on as a kid, and that probably played into your SI, right?
Yeah, probably. Like, I'm building... That's so funny. We do a crossover, like, gaming stream episode. Anyway, like, I built the park based on what I feel like things should be, and how I feel like things should be are probably just clusters of memories from my childhood about what looks good together and what rides feel good to do in a sequential manner. I don't know, like some rides just don't belong together, but like who's to say that? I think that's the SI that always says something like that, and maybe the FI feelings.
I just place them wherever I want. Maximize profits.
Yeah, wait, okay, also his park was like way more profitable than my park because I'm pricing things. He's like, are you pricing things based on like the max that you can get away with?
No, I price them at a reasonable price.
Because I
but
feel
it's
like
also at a high price.
I feel like I am pricing them how I feel like a real theme park should price things, but then that led to me being bankrupt, so then I had to raise the prices.
A park cannot charge $5 and survive.
Oh, it's only for you. A viewer is asking you directly, are you interested in MBTI and do you see the application of it?
I have a mild interest in MBTI and I can see the application for it. For myself personally though, I can't really apply it to myself, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like seeing, for example, the book The Secret. I can see how that would be helpful for some people, but I feel like it's not something that I would apply to my own life.
And I have my own way that I choose to go about things, which seems to fall within my type.
This was a question that was only for me, based on an assumption, but it's like, how do you deal with his lack of understanding of more intuitive topics? Or no, this person had a sensing partner or something, and then that person couldn't deal with the lack of understanding of more intuitive topics. It's not like a lack of understanding, it's more like you are not naturally inclined to seek that out. But I feel like you're capable of having a conversation with me about whatever topic that I want. So I don't really see it as a problem. Although like sometimes I feel like this is more like a FITE thing. Probably because my FI is higher. I'm like, wait, are you actually interested in this topic? Or are you just like talking to me because I'm your girlfriend? But I feel like for TE, it's probably not like, oh my god, is it authentic for me to talk about this topic? It's more like, oh, you're just talking about like whatever comes up.
Basically. I mean, I have a general interest in just about everything. So I know a lot about random stuff, which is never going to be helpful in life. But it makes for a good conversation with a wide variety of people who surprisingly don't think that I would know about a subject matter. I mean, I think I keep up pretty well with your intuitive conversations.
Yeah, you do. The same person asked if it's enough to just talk about intuitive topics with my friends. I feel like, yeah, there's a difference when talking about intuitive topics with Allan and with Alex. And it's just their tendency of which direction they take my intuitive understanding, I guess. Like Alex will probably just, it drifts further into intuitive la la land, and I feel like you make it more practical. So to answer the question, yeah, I think it's enough to go more towards intuition with your friends. Like I feel like if I had to choose, I would rather you be a sensor as you are now, because in my opinion, obviously, for your primary romantic relationship, balance is important. And I feel like the reason why I've made so many improvements after Alex's unfortunate departure is because you're making everything more practical. I feel like when I talk about MBTI, you might ask, like, why is that important? And the way I answer it is like, oh, it's just interesting. But like, I gotta realize that it's not interesting to everyone. And the reality is that it's only interesting to like a small niche of people, which is why the biggest MBTI channel is not that big at all. So then you ask like, okay, why should the layman be interested? And then you ask all these questions and then you're like, okay, how can I apply that? And it just forces me to be more balanced in this approach. And I think that's better for success or just well-being in the long run.
And I mean, me being a sensor helped you make your things into reality and ground everything, so it doesn't just keep on going down the rabbit hole even further.
Yeah, like we're doing online classes on how to type people objectively, and that was actually your idea. The thing that like Alex and I would do was kind of like, oh, it'd be cool if people would also know how to type people like we do, or oh, it would be cool if we improved our video quality. Like it's a bunch of like, oh, it'd be cool if, but we don't actually take action and do it. And I'm sure that's because of the collective low sensing. Dealing with objects and the nitty gritty is just so exhausting, but you tend to.
But that's where the fun is.
See, yeah, exactly. And I'm glad that you find it fun. I talked to Dave Superpowers recently, and he's an INTJ, and he said that, like, no one likes dealing with the sensory. No one likes setting cameras up. No one likes doing any of that stuff. Yeah, I was like, yeah, fortunately, my boyfriend is a sensor, and he likes doing this stuff, or at least it's not annoying. And when you're doing your own photography, it's fun. Is it not fun? Wait, why do you even do photography if it's not fun?
Because I can.
Oh, spoken like a TE dominant. What is something that you're passionate about other than me?
Everything is kind of baseline. Nothing is a negative, nothing is a positive, but everything leans more towards a positive.
That's good. That's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Next question. This was also directly from a viewer asking you, do you get annoyed when I talk about abstract nonsense? Their words.
Nah. Oh, you want me to elaborate?
You.
Why would I get annoyed about you talking about abstract nonsense? It's good exercise for the brain.
What a practical application. No, I feel like people are just asking me based on their own experiences.
It depends on who you interact with and what experience the other person has. I've read a lot of abstract stuff before, and I guess I've done a lot of abstract stuff as well. The more you experience, the more you kind of understand how other people experience and see things. But I guess that's also why older people with all their functions higher up are harder to type. And I guess that goes further to show that how much of an old man I am.
The last question is... Oh, I thought this question was so interesting. Someone asked what we think the dynamic would be like if our genders were reversed. So if it's like a male INFP, female ESTJ.
Well, I can't say for myself since I'm not too sure how I would be as an FP. That seems very foreign. I mean, it probably won't be too much different, though male FPs tend to downplay the emotional side just due to how society is nowadays.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Or was. But it's hard to say. Like, you would probably be your usual nerdy Asian girl as an ESTJ with weird hobbies. Maybe a gamer girl.
Yeah,
or
I can see that. I guess the biggest difference for me would be Like, I have my tertiary SI, which likes to compare my life with art. And I feel like this dynamic is way more prevalent in media and books and stuff. So it feels kind of nice to see that represented. I know there's definitely the opposite represented, but it's way less common, especially since I really like old movies and like old books. Like, occasionally I really like watching like the classics. It depends on how much you care about relating. I guess I don't care that much, but it's nice, right? To like watch a rom-com and then be like, oh my god, that's like me. That's like my relationship. So happy.
Though if you're an ESTJ, you probably wouldn't be as into rom-coms. Or if you're like me, you're gonna be as much into it.
Yeah, I feel like for INFP men, some of them are super INFP-like, but other ones are like very subdued. Okay, I feel like if I were a man, my SI would make me very different than how I am now. Because, okay, right now a part of my identity is based on my FI-SI conceptualization of femininity in society. So if I were a man, then it would be masculinity in society. So it would be different in that sense. ESTJ as female. I mean, like, Alex as a TJ is not an ESTJ, but like maybe the part where being like judging as a female would be the most contradictory to societal gender roles is that JE tends to be more active, so they tend to want to have control over the external world, and I would say is more likely to make the first move, I guess, and maybe that aspect is the most contradictory to society. But that might be a challenge if you're like INFP man in general society, because you might be like more rare than a TJ guy, or if you're a TJ girl, that's probably more like, well, I don't know if it's actually more rare, but it might be.
Or it may not just be as apparent because of how subdued it is. Like, this rereading question, if we kept our same personalities but swap cognitive functions,
yes,
I would be a mess.
Yes, yeah.
I would be a
That's
mess.
just because your life was so hard.
Yeah, I would be
like,
a mess.
My life was so easy and I'm a mess. I'm an occasional mess. And your life was so hard. So I feel like if you had dominant FI, yeah, it would be hard.
Yeah, the emotions would be overwhelming.
Oh, honey. Basically, I feel like individually it might have its challenges, but together, because you're duals, it would be like the same. Yeah, if it's an ESTJ girl and an INFP guy, it'd be like similar to what we have now, except you just can't relate to media as much. But that's basically the biggest thing I thought of. And
media and stereotypes and all that, and it's all BS. Each individual is themselves. And generalizations and stereotypes exist because it does fit for a lot of people, but it's not an all be-all kind of thing.
I guess that's it. Thank you so much for the questions, guys. Thanks for helping us get to 10,000 subs. If you would like to support this channel, please go to Patreon. We have some interesting perks, and I just revamped the whole thing, so yeah.
New rewards on Patreon, and check out the new website.
Yeah, Allan worked so hard on that.
Because we'll put even more effort into making all the content.
Okay, yes, I did put effort.
I put in a lot of effort.
Oh, thanks, honey. Oh my gosh, TE affirmations feel so good to INFP. It's like, yes, my work is recognized.
A lot of effort. On the website, we also have more information about the workshops if you guys want to learn more about that.
Oh yeah, okay, so I'll make another video on this, but yeah, we're gonna host a online workshop in fall.
Hopefully.
Fall, early winter, hopefully. Well, based on the rate that we're going, probably it'll be good by then.
We need to find the elusive ISTP.
ISTJ. Yeah, when we find all the types, we're gonna host this class on objective typing based on all of your auditory and visual subconscious cues. So if you like to sign up for the mailing list, it's on the website too.
And it does have a sample photo, so you can see how the setup looks if you're interested in that.
Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. See you next time.
Keep on subscribing.